I'd like to call to order the East Chicago Common Council regular meeting for Wednesday, October 25th, 2023. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
United States of America. Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Roll call, please.
Second District Councilman Lenny Francisco.
Present.
Third District Councilman Terrence Fight.
Yeah,
Correct. Third District Councilman Terrence Hill.
Here, man.
My apologies. Fourth District Councilwoman Stacy Winfield. Fifth District Councilman Robert Garcia.
Present.
Sixth District Councilwoman Gilda Oren.
Present.
Councilwoman at Large Deborah Bolaño.
Here.
Councilman at Large Dwayne Ransford.
Here.
Councilman at Large Kenneth Monroe.
Present.
Council President Monica Gonzalez.
Here. Minutes of council meetings.
Minutes, regular meeting, September 27th, year 2023.
So move, Madam President.
Second. Okay, motion made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Roll call, please.
Francisco.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Garcia.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaño.
Yes.
Ransford.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes. Communication from the mayor.
I have none.
Communication from department heads.
Accounts payable warrants. 100,523 CC. 100,623 CC. 100,923 CC. 101,723 CC. 102,523 CC. And 102,523 committee.
So move, Madam President. Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Franciski, seconded by Councilman Hill. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Francisco.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Garcia.
No.
Orange.
Yes.
Bolaño.
Yes.
Ransford.
Yes.
Monroe.
Yes.
Gonzalez.
Yes. Committee reports. Board reports. Ordinances on first reading.
I have none.
Ordinances on second reading.
I have none.
Ordinances on third reading.
I have none.
Consideration of ordinance 230038 vetoed by the mayor. Clerk Medina, can you please read the ordinance?
Ordinance 23-0038, sponsor Monica Gonzalez, Stacy Winfield, Deborah Bolaños, Robert Garcia, Dwayne Ransford, Kenneth Monroe. An ordinance fixing the salaries of police and fire personnel in the city of Chicago, Indiana for the year 2024.
So move, Madam President, to override the veto. Second.
Okay, motion made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Are there any questions? Councilwoman Orange.
The police chief and the fire chief are here, they're not allowed to speak.
I think with this situation, we already had everybody speak before. They did not speak before the ordinance went to consideration before it passed.
There's nothing that requires any speaking. The ordinances have gone up on first and second and third. And it's just an override of the veto, so there's no presentation required for an override of the veto.
That being said, roll call please.
Francisco,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Winfield. Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
Yes.
Bolaño,
Yes.
Ratchford,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes. The veto has been overruled by over 6 votes. Resolutions,
we have no resolutions.
consideration of resolution 230014 vetoed by the mayor. Clerk Medina, can you please read?
Resolution 23-0014, sponsored Councilman Robert Garcia. A resolution on renaming Heritage Hall to Emilio A. De la Garza Jr. Heritage Center.
So moved, Madam President. Second.
A motion made by Councilman Garcia, seconded by Councilman Monroe. Are there any questions, Councilman Garcia?
Yes, Madam President, I got a letter here from a school board member that wanted me to read if I can.
Go ahead.
So, from Jesse Gomez, he goes, I am writing in support of the renaming of Heritage Hall and out of Emilio A. De la Garza Jr. I had the fortune of knowing Emilio growing up. He was a teen and I was a child. My family lived in 5 houses from his family on 36th block of First Street. He was one of the few teams on the block that would come out to play with my childhood friends, and I would, in a few years younger than him. We enjoyed his company and his willingness to teach us how to throw a baseball, play football, and play good old street and alley games. Our block was always busy with activity and sound of youngsters playing. And so one day, I recall that the open window in my bedroom was eerily quiet that day. I went down the block to meet with friends when I found out Emilio had died. It was a day that I would never forget. For the days that followed, the block remained still. We all felt lost and out of respect to his family. My friends and everyone on the block remained quiet and doing activity with the mailman making his deliveries, police officer walking beat, and the milkman making house visits. That was my first recollection of someone I knew dying. I remember Emilio's parents was devastated as everyone on the block. And I remember years later talking to Emilio's father, Emilio Sr., and hearing him tell me how much he missed his son. Emilio's heroism and posthumous honors did little to ease the pain his father felt in the years that ensured. His father carried that grief with him until he passed away. But while Emilio died, the lives he saved allowed those around him to live. The other families to grow and enjoy the freedom that he fought to keep. As we exit Hispanic Heritage Month and prepare to honor veterans next month, I can't help but think of my neighbor, Emilio De la Garza Jr., and observe how fitting it is at this time to honor one of East Chicago's true heroes for future generations to know of his service to our country.
Councilman Garcia.
Yes, I just had 2 individuals that I would like to have say something. Bob.
Yes, if this is a veto, nobody can talk, they can talk for 5 minutes, and nobody else can.
Wow. If they've spoken before in the public. No, I said that they haven't spoken before on the issue.
But the police was here last week, maybe get a chance to speak, you were screaming out there.
Yeah, hold on. Clarification, Attorney Jones,
There's no procedure on this issue.
so they're allowed to speak.
Respectfully, you didn't allow the police chief or the fire chief to speak during that veto. It's your decision. You're the president of the council. You run the meeting. There's no procedure in line on this.
Since the representatives of these organizations were allowed to speak the last time and they spoke before the ordinance, I will allow people to speak on behalf of an organization. Councilman Garcia.
Bob?
Can you please state your name and please state the organization that you represent?
My name is Robert Carnegie. I'm the state commander for the Disabled American Veterans in the state of Indiana. As such, there are 14,000 members across the state, quite a few, not a percentage of them, but many in this room are members of that organization or brother and sister organizations. We're saddened to be here to have a tribute to a military hero who gave his life on the line to save his brothers and have to be kicked around like a football, a political football, because one process wasn't in place or another process, where when you all know this is a very deserving young man. He served his country well, he served the city well, and he should maintain a position of honor within your city. And to be held up by something that wasn't in place before you had the discussion is absolutely a shame. And so we're here to support that veto override because it's the right thing to do for this community. Thank you.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
If you want to talk, you got to do fill out a form.
President, I'm Jerry Gonzalez, current commander of American Legion Post 508, Emilio de la Garza Junior Chapter. I've been commander here for 4 years now, and I just wanted to make something from our American Legion things that we have that I find fitting. If there be glory in war, it is the almost incredible spirit which it engenders. Those who offer their lives sacrifice their all with magnificent abandon. Heroism becomes contagious. Yet too in warfare, greed and brutality are epidemic. Too often it is these later which persist in peace that follows. Let us strive to see the same spirit of self-sacrifice cultivated in peace as has been exhibited in war. It behooves us to rear new standards of success, to inspire youth in peace as youth was inspired in war. Public honor must be given where public honor is due, not to the manipulator of a market, the seeker after profit, power, or position, but rather let us honor our heroes. Thank you, President. Thank you, council members.
Thank you. Okay. At this time, if anybody, any council member wants to have a comment, we will go from second district all the way through, and you will be allowed to have your say. Councilman Franciski?
No.
Councilman Hill?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say good evening to everyone. And secondly, this is a unique situation, very unique situation. With that being said, I was at the last meeting, and as a council member, nobody in the audience who knew me or could get my number to have a conversation with me. Nor did I have any conversation with anybody on this council in this matter. That might have had some different enlightenment, because I just lost my brother. So my mind been all over the place. But then again, no matter how it works, I think if that doesn't work or however it works, we should get a nice statue or a monument of Mr. Garcia in one of those, like Michael Jordan in the United Center. Like Michael Jordan's statue was in front of the Della Garza in front of the United Center. We could do that for the Heritage Hall, or we can rename the park, Yunez Park, after him, which is in Councilman Garcia's district. So either way it goes, it could be a win-win situation. So My thing is, no one communicated with me, and that's gonna be a deciding factor. How I vote. And I think.
Councilman Garcia.
Yes, everybody knows why we're here. There's no more higher honors that is bestowed on him. He's a winner. You're gonna hear comments today that there should have been a process. There ain't no process. The process the council follow is that we do an ordinance or we do a resolution. Put on the agenda, we discuss it and we vote on it, you know? But you're gonna hear some things today that I can't believe, we're gonna go through. Okay? When he went to the service, he got drafted. Was there a process? He went in, he had to go in, he got drafted. When he gave up his life, was there a process? No.
Councilwoman Orange.
I'm sad too that you're here today for this situation. May not have been a process, but it's about respect and giving your council people their due. Also contacting the administration, which you probably have not, and at least have given people the privilege of saying what we could have came together. It's been 4 weeks. I asked you about a meeting, Councilwoman Winfield asked you about a meeting, but you have not reached out to any of us to say anything.
No, she let her finish.
Last week, a person held up a sign that said that I was racist or racism. It's been all kinds of stuff on Facebook. I don't know how we could be racist when we were both minority. And so I'm trying to figure it out, the things that have been said on Facebook about myself and Councilman Hill. It's shameful. And I know that no matter what I vote or how I vote, that's not what the veterans stood up for. My husband was a veteran. He was in Vietnam. My father just went on that honor flight from for Korea. I know what veterans are about. And it has nothing whatsoever to do with Emilio De La Garza. Honorable person, wonderful person. This is about people thinking that they can push stuff past people without giving them the respect to even talking to them. And that's all I have to say.
Councilwoman Bolaños.
Well, I want to make a clarification on something from the last meeting. I called Ivy Tech and I spoke to the retired Chancellor, Louis Gonzalez, and I asked him, is the Emilio De La Garza name going back on that building? And he says, what do you mean? I said, well, when I was growing up, the sign was on the side as you drive by Columbus Drive. And he says, Debbie, that's been gone for years. And I said, well, then can you give me a little history on this building? And he said that it used to be owned by the school administration, which I didn't know at that point. The sign was there. And then when Ivy Tech took it over, when you park and you go into the main entrance, you'll see his sign, but it says De La Garza Building. How do I know who De La Garza Building is? It was donated by the foundations of East Chicago, that sign. So he also told me that there was going to be major renovations to Ivy Tech, and there was going to be, I guess they were going to upgrade that sign. He didn't say how, but it's going to remain in that main entrance where the parking lot's at. But I told him, that's not what I'm asking. I want to know if that sign is going to be on the side of the building where it was before. It's not. Okay, so my suggestion was in the last meeting was that we wanted the name to be added to the Heritage Hall, for it to say Emilio De La Garza Jr. Heritage Hall. We're not taking anything from anybody, okay? We're trying to unite. There's a division in this city and I'm sick and tired of it. I've been on this council for 2 years. I'm the junior on this council. And what I've seen here is very disappointing. And I'm very discouraged in ever wanting to run for office in the city. Starting with the mayor. How he divides this city. He gets me so mad. And you say that he doesn't have communication. Well, how many times have we had issues here and we try to talk to him and he shuts us down? He's even suing us. What kind of leadership is that? So that is one thing that I wanted to clarify. That's it. I don't think get too upset now.
Yes, first off, I also want to say, I believe De La Garza is more than willing and deserving of naming of that building. If anybody in the history of East Chicago, considering he's the only one in the history of East Chicago to receive that medal, only one of two in the county to receive the Medal of Honor, only one of 3,000 plus in the history to receive it. So he's definitely deserving of that. Now, I know Robert said there's no process to certain things, but the government is set up on the process and how things are voted on and how things are allowed. But with that being said, I do believe that we should set up something in place to allow a procedure, a standard operating procedure to take place. And I don't believe a 60-day delay by having something in place for the entire county and everyone to come up and do things orderly and in fashion is out of line. I also believe that, again, as a council member, we voted against allocating funds for different things throughout the city that would benefit different organizations and different kids or whatever, and we voted it down because as council members, we needed clarification and we delayed that. And I believe, a delay does not mean a denial. So I just believe a process should be set in place that includes the entire city. And, I'm in full support of naming the De La Garza Center, Heritage Hall after De La Garza, but I am also in support of having a process in place.
Here, here. My answer still stands, yes.
So we will have, and I'm gonna ask real quick before we go to the second round, because we cannot speak twice. But I'm gonna ask Attorney Jones to make the clarification or to speak on the procedure, if none.
There is no procedure in place for the city on renaming buildings owned by the city. There is no procedure currently set up with the city. The procedure that we followed to date has been to put forth an ordinance or a resolution renaming a street or a building. There's been no committee that's been set up. There is no procedure.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna ask again, I'm gonna go through the whole council one more time and ask if anybody has a comment. If you have one, Councilman Francis, Councilman Hill,
No.
Councilman Garcia.
Yes, like I told you guys outside Monday, I sent the mayor an email to him and the chief of staff to set up a meeting. I had told him in the email, I said, I have a group of veterans that want to sit down and talk to clarify this. To this day, he still hasn't called. Right? When this mayor does the budget, $34 million budget, right? He wants to have a process. The process is sit down with his council. This hammer out a budget, but he does not. He does not give the budget. Matter of fact, right now, there's a $10 million he wants to use in contractual service. I have asked planning of what you want to use that money for. You know what his answer is? He won't tell him. And here you got people talking about the process. Process we following is correct. It is correct. I reached out to the mayor. He decided not to talk.
Councilwoman Orange.
You reached out to him on Monday And this has been a month ago that this was done, so.
Councilwoman Bolaños.
I agree about a process, but let's do it after we name the Heritage Hall.
Ransford.
Attorney General, I know obviously there hasn't been a process up to this point, but has there been any renaming of any government buildings, city-owned buildings up until this point?
Not that I'm aware of. Sure, there's been namings that happened before my time, before your time, before the mayor's time. What old processes were in place or what they did with those in order to name those buildings, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I kind of know one name that was named, somebody from past, Marina. That was named, past. That was one that I know of, like I said, the rest of them probably, where we always hear. But, my problem is, you got an email, invite me and the rest of the council to invitation to the Veterans Upcoming Day. Since I've been here, I don't think I've been invited by the mayor to an event. Now you want to play a game and invite us. And then you're coming up with a proposal of Veterans Park, which this wall that they're gonna have that nobody know about. But all this is coming up because of what we're doing today. So as of today, my answer is still yes, boy. Let's name the building because we'll probably never get invited to anything else again anyway.
Okay, so I'm gonna conclude with our comments, and I know I passed the veto message out to the crowd. And this is the veto message that the mayor has sent us. And if you look on there, and I highlighted them, it says establishing. So he was talking about how we don't have a procedure. And like Attorney Jones said, there is no procedure. And one of the things on the highlighting is we're supposed to contact the public, fellow council members, and the mayor. And we did all those steps, check, check, check. The whole process began last year when 3 separate veterans approached myself, Councilwoman Bolaños, and Councilman Garcia. And they asked us to put forth a resolution or whatever it took to help rename Heritage Hall. So it started with the public. It did not start with the councilman. And I want to make that clear. It did not start with us, it started with the public. And then the councilman worked with other councilmen to get this passed. And then it goes to the mayor. That's the process. We have that process. And for him, and if you look on the bottom where it says overall there has been no effort, that is so deceiving. There has been every effort. We have a building named the Martin Luther King Center. We have the Bessie Owens Center. We had Roberto Clemente Center, which was taken away from us and never renamed. So you want a procedure? Absolutely, we can vote on procedure, but let's get this done. Let's get this done. With that being said, we are taking a vote now to override the mayor's veto. I keep everybody in mind that we need 6 votes in order to do so. Roll call, please, Mr. Clerk.
Francisco,
Yes.
Hill,
Abstain.
Garcia,
Yes.
Orange,
No.
Bolaños,
Yes.
Ransford,
No.
Monroe,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes. I'm sorry, there's only 5 votes. We did not override the veto. We will move on. Move on to old business. Old business. I'm asking the audience to please settle down. Old business, I have, and I'm gonna call, calling a rescind vote. Again, we have to do some house cleaning, because the sanitary ordinance passed too soon. The, ordinance is 230030. We need to rescind the vote for the East Chicago sanitary ordinance for appropriation and tax rate for 2024. We need to do this, in order to repass it. I know it's kind of confusing, but we have to rescind the vote first, and then we have to repass it on third and final reading. So the first step we need to do is I need a motion to rescind the vote that we took, to vote on it, and then go from there. So do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Orange, seconded by Councilman Franciski. Are there any questions on the matter for rescinding the vote? Roll call, please.
Francisco,
Yeah.
Hill,
Yes.
Garcia,
No.
Orange,
Yes.
Bolaños,
No.
Ransford,
Yes.
Monroe,
No.
Gonzalez,
Yes. Do we have enough to rescind the vote?
yes, 5-3.
Okay, now I need a motion to pass 230030.
Oh, Madam President.
Motion made by Councilman Gill, second by Councilwoman Orange. Any questions? Roll call, please.
Hill.
Shut it.
Garcia. No. Orange, vote. Bolaños. Ransford. Monroe.
No.
Gonzalez.
I'm still wait till everybody leaves before we move on. Not everybody, but whoever wants to speak.
This is your veteran walking out, and which walks me 18 months of Vietnam, and I lost my hand.
My husband also.
Neither he-
Young man.
American, right?
Okay, we're gonna move on to new business.
Did you close that door?
Point of order,
Yes, I'm sorry.
having completed the vote passed.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you.
The last person to vote,
Get a reminder, it's a motion to pass the sanitary budget.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but, go ahead. Clerk Medina.
Gonzalez,
Yes,
motion carried.
thank you. Okay, we're on to new business. Does anybody have any new business? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Today, I'll never forget this. The shame that this council didn't pass this, the shame. You that I heard today, it's great. It is a disgrace. This man, you know, I keep on hearing that he's more than deserving and votes no. That's no.
Does anybody have any new business, Councilwoman Bolaños?
Mine is something else. On Saturday, Councilwoman Stacy Winfield had a breast cancer awareness walk, and I was part of that. She invited me to lead the walk with another lady. And if you don't know, I've been battling breast cancer since December. But I think that this city never really acknowledges people for things that they do, the positive things that they do in this community. I wanted to do it. I wanted to say thank you to Stacy for doing that, and for all the other ladies that were there. And anybody else that's going through that, you go to hell and back, believe me. But yet, we continue with our lives and we're warriors. So that's what I wanted to say, to thank Stacy for that.
Hey, does anybody else have any business? Councilman Hill?
I'd like to thank the administration for doing the redevelopment in my district, having learned the sidewalks, repair, continuing to renovate the West Panama complex. The new project that's going to be coming in the near future. I'm a positive person. I'm easy to get along with. Talk to me, works the things out. I'm not hard to deal with. I'm a straightforward person, and all I want is the best for each and every one of us. You all have a good night.
Does anybody else have any new business? Move on to public expression. I'm gonna call out the names. You come up to the microphone and you have, please state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes to speak. The first one is Joe McCarthy.
Evening, council members. My name is Joe McCarthy. I live in 3722 Grover Avenue in Hammond, Indiana. Wrap this up real quick. I used to serve on the city council in Hammond in 1994. And I had a guy come up to me and ask me to sponsor a resolution for Staff Sergeant William Windridge for the Korean War veteran that was also awarded Congressional Medal of Honor. We did have a dedication. We did a park. We did an area around the Civic Center. But then when the school city bought property, it was unceremoniously moved to a pocket park with his name on it. There's no real recognition for the sacrifice this man made. When I was on the council, I did approach council members. And I told them I was sponsoring ordinance for a resolution at that time process. And at that time, every council member wanted to sign on as a co-sponsor at that given time. And it was fast track. Next year, we had an ordinance for second suspended the rules, passed on final, and it was dedicated at a C-130 flyover ticket swing to people that were there to celebrate the opening, and a park was established. The reason why I bring it back up that it was unceremoniously moved to a pocket park with a name on it, in my mind, a lot of veterans I talked to, they thought it was really disrespectful because that man served our country and we have it on a fence in a park. The dedication and space of this soldier laid down his life, the Marine, laid down his life for his country and his fellow man deserves a permanent recognition, and a city facility is the best name recognition because you could have ceremonial plaques, you could have all kinds of informational plaques, and you could have ceremonies at that place and place the man in the honor that he so willingly deserves. I've been to Washington D.C. I went to Arlington Cemetery. Solemn, walking through there. You see the rows of maintained cemeteries,
30 seconds.
stones. And this is a treasure that our nation capital remembers outstanding veterans. And I think that every city that had the privilege of having one of their citizens awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor deserves the dignity to have a park named in this place. The process is what you're talking about. You just rescinded something on housekeeping to do something going forward for the sanitary district. And you can't do the same thing for a fellow veteran. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robert Carnegie. Julio, I'm sorry, I can't see the writing. Thank you.
I would just like to state, when the vocational center was being built, I worked there. Post 508 made a lot of effort to name that school for the vocational center for Amelia de Garza. We went to trials and tribulations like we're doing now with Heritage Hall, okay? It's a shame that we gotta go out and beg. Now we gotta wait till we vote so we can tell you people how we want our city run by the people that live here. It is an understanding that we fought. I spent 18 months in Vietnam. All the guys were 19 years old. Some of them didn't come back. So what do? Forget them? We don't tell our kids about it? We don't put a legacy inside a building where people can come in and say, well, who is that? What did he do? I just want to say, I hope that we can get this matter taken care of sooner the better, so our people in the city of East Chicago will understand that we were raised and born here and we fought for this city to make it able for everybody to have a chance. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Ray Robles, 1632 Carroll Court, Crown Point. I was born and raised here in East Chicago, on the harbor side. And I knew Emilio, went to school with him, ran around with him a little bit. He's a year younger than me. There's some comments here that kind of upset me a little bit. You know, I'd like to address Mr. Ransford here. He says he's all in favor of procedure for another 60 days. We waited 53 years. 53 years since Emilio died. Now you're asking for another 60 days. When I found out that Emilio Garza Jr.'s headstone was sitting in Washington Park for 42 years in the original crate that the government sent to the family, stood there and stayed there for 42 years. When I found out about it, I was with the Marine Corps League. We went on a mission to get that headstone placed at the gravesite where he's at now. Went through all kinds of red tape. Had to get a letter from the family. It wasn't good enough. The letter had to be notarized. Then the city lawyer said, well, this notary isn't good. We have to get together with these people over here. Went through all kinds of red tape. Finally, when they said, okay, we're going to put the headstone at his gravesite, I, along with some of the other members of the Marine Corps League, carried the detachment, got the headstone to the gravesite. The person that was in charge of the cemetery said, we can't accept it. And I said, why? It's not up to code. It's not black marble. It's a white stone. The gold letters were going to be erased over time. We had to go through all of that to get a headstone that was awarded to Emilio by the US government for sacrificing his life. And we had to go through all these steps just to get it placed. Someplace where it was given to him by the government. Why do we have to go through this? Chicago has always been a town that has politics over everything.
30 seconds.
When Mayor Patrick's name was on Klein Avenue, he followed that up with a sidewalk scandal. We're not asking for anything like that. We're asking for Villa de Garza to be placed, his name, what we're asking for. We're not asking for 60 days. We've already asked for 53 years. How much more time do we need? Really? And the last thing I want to say is that people don't know, when Emilio was in Vietnam, he had choice duty. He had PX duty in a safe zone. He told his commander, his commanding general, I didn't sign up for this. I want to be where the battle is at. They transferred him to the 1st Marine Division, and then he volunteered and jumped on a grenade, something that is not taught. That comes from within. That comes from people like here in East Chicago side, Harbor side. That's what we're from. That's what we are. And yet we can't get a simple thing like a building renamed after Emilio Del Garza Jr. I think those that voted against this, shame on you.
Your time is up, sir.
Thank you.
Jerry Gonzalez.
Jerry Gonzalez, born and raised here in East Chicago, live in Crown Point, Indiana now. As commander of Post 508 East Chicago, I just want to say we need to do what's right for this man, this person who gave the ultimate sacrifice in battle, and I think we should do what's right. We're gonna probably be here every meeting until this is done. And it just needs to be done. Done what's right and done for him and what he represents to the city of East Chicago. And as far as operating procedures, standard operating procedures that were mentioned, planning, who's in charge of that? Why isn't that person here? It's been 4 weeks. There should be a revision handed out to everybody that, okay, this is being done. This is what's happening. Nothing's being done, so who's in charge of that? Is there even a person that's in charge of that? Does the mayor have a representative? That person should be here in his meetings. There should be a person in here taking down notes, like a business is ran, taking down notes, taking the advice from everybody that's here, from the council members. It's not being ran right. It's not being ran right. And if there was a street named after somebody who wasn't even a politician in East Chicago, but there's streets being named after people. You got a man that got the Medal of Honor, the Congressional Medal of Honor, for giving his life. It should just be, it should be a no, it should just be done. And whoever needs to be represented here for the city of East Chicago, that person should be sitting here in this meeting somewhere, taking notes, handing out revisions. Okay, let's work on it some more. Nothing's being done. And nothing is probably gonna be done. I've been living here for 51 years. You see it day in and day out. Politics is what I see. I've been born and raised in it. That's why we can't even get a House Speaker in Washington, D.C. right now. Why? Because of politics. The city is divided, the country's divided. And we just need to do what's right for this man and do something that honors him in a good way. And we'll be here until it's done. And as far as the Veterans event coming up at Heritage Hall, American Legion Post 508 is going to be boycotting that event. We will not participate this year. We will not be here. Post 508 will not be representing at the Veterans event. It's sad to say, but we won't be here. Thank you.
Three minutes, short. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank all the veterans who are here, council members, for being here this evening on this very, very important topic. I've lived in Chicago my whole life. Many people don't know I grew up on the dark side. Sunny side, I'm on the dark side. That's Michigan Avenue in Cary. A lot of folks don't even know that's there. However, as a young boy, I went to the Columbus Drive Library, saw Emilio De La Garza's picture. The Vietnam, wait a minute, my brother served in Vietnam. He was like 12 years older than me. He says, hey, why are we honoring this individual here? And he told me the story. He says he sacrificed his life jumping on a grenade. And my brother told me horror stories of what Vietnam was about. And to the veterans, my apologies for having my back towards you. But I look at each and every one of you. I thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for your service. Thank you, thank you. Without you guys here today, for what you guys did in the past, this experiment known as democracy does not work. Plain and simple. And so I implore everyone to reconsider and vote as quickly as possible to get this resolution. I think it's called a resolution. I'm a novice here, guys. Passed as quickly as possible. I have the dubious distinction this evening for the second time at City Council to meet Mrs. De La Garza here. Unbelievable. So I'm halfway with my time. I'm gonna hurry up. So my brother told me what sacrifice he's done. And, you know, I implore every council member, if at the bottom of their hearts, if they would take another look at this resolution and vote so we can get the building named Heritage Hall in his honor. It's brick and mortar. However, for generations that will pass that Heritage Hall, they will ask, hey, who is he? And generation after generation. And that's how it's been in this world. It's always been a verbal history. But now we have the internet, now we have history books. Matter of fact, 2018, my son's school went to the nation's capital, and they gave us an itinerary to visit the memorials. And Vietnam Memorial Wall.
30 seconds.
And we stopped, and I asked the teachers, can I hold court for 5 minutes to explain and locate Milo De La Garza's name on that wall? And we did, and I explained to them who he was. Now they're going to be able to explain in the next generation going forward as to the sacrifice that Milo De La Garza. And thank you very much.
Daniel Peterson.
Council members, my name is Daniel Peterson. I live at 7812 Mount Street, Cherville, Indiana. Served 2 tours in Iraq as an infantryman. I am currently district commander of Veterans of Foreign Wars, Department of Indiana, which is Lake County. Spoke to, we'll name them, a few of the folks here that are making the decisions. Give you a few of my observations. Race was mentioned every time this topic was brought up. I'm a Marine. Every single one of us, I know many of you in here, I'm in your detachments. Pardon my French, you can throw me out if this is not allowed. We don't give a fuck about race. No one cares. Please do not make this man's sacrifice. I don't think many of you served in the military, but to jump on a grenade, once that pin is pulled, once you realize that pin has been pulled, you have less than 5 seconds to make a decision. There is no time for a process. There is no time for a procedure. There's no time to ask or discern the race of those around you, or where they're from, or their gender. No one cares. This man did that. He knew he would die. An issue that was also brought up was the procedure thing. I think enough has been said about that. I agree with everything that's been said about procedure here. You need help. The other issue is about raising money. If you need help raising money, I have my card here. We will be happy to help you raise money. I'm sorry I was not born here. I ended up here as a result of a divorce. But I have found this community to be extremely generous, no matter where I've been. From Lowell to Whiting to Lake Station, St. John, Cherville, we will happily help you raise money to commemorate an individual who laid down his life. The whole purpose of those of us you saw wearing this hat,
30 seconds.
We joined the Veterans of Foreign Wars to build a community that is worthy of our fallen comrades' sacrifice. I lost comrades in Iraq, and I've lost comrades on the home front battlefield every single year that I've been home, and I got back from Iraq in 2009. Something that Andy Stump said, Navy SEAL, I'm sorry you all have never felt alarm bells ringing in your head. I'm sorry you've never smelled the breath of someone who's trying to kill you. I would not wish that on you, but I wish you had that. Because it would change the way you think, it would change the way you act. Saying thank you is not enough. You have to change your actions to be worthy of what these men and sometimes women have done. Thank you, ma'am.
Gil Galich?
Good evening, my name is Gail Archuleta Galich. I was in the Army for 8 years. Today there are 1,998,000 members on active duty. There are only 3,795 Medal of Honor recipients. There are only 49 Hispanic recipients of the Medal of Honor. There are only 2 in the state of Indiana alive today. There are only 49 Hispanics, as I said. And we have, as Hispanics in the United States, know that we have to work twice as hard to be American citizens. And like my comrade there said, this is not about race. But when we prove to our parents that we are good American citizens, they are extra proud of us. I'm a first generation American. I'm the first Hispanic in a white cap in the state of Indiana. My brother is the representative for the state of Illinois, veterans representative. He's the first college graduate in our family. We came over from Europe in the 1800s. We are 5 generations in America. And when I see the American flag, I cry. When I see the Star Spangled Banner, I cry. And I am proud to see my brother, and I hope that we name a building after him. And Representative Hill, when you said you didn't know him, shame on you, because you should know all the constituents in your region. I thank all of you for being on this board, and not that you didn't vote for him. I hope all of you consider voting for anything that is controversial to you. Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our public expression. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
A motion made by Councilman Garcia, second by Councilman Monroe. Roll call, please.
Francis,
Yes.
Gil, Garcia,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Maloney,
Yes.
Francis,
Yes.
Monroe,
Yep.
Gonzalez.
Yes. Meeting is adjourned.
No, I went back. Yeah. But no, not really. Oh, okay.